I didn't care. Because I thought, oh, I already have God in my heart, so I don't need to do anything else. So what I want to explain to you guys today is that you may be saved, but there's still a whole other level to it. You need to understand who God is. You need to pursue Him. My dad's mentor, Steve Fernandez, my dad mentioned this in the last sermon, that he had 2 kids, and both of them were saved in elementary. They were baptized in elementary. But then in high school age, they were baptized again because they finally realized what they were missing out on. They realized who God was. And I just recently figured that out. I grew up in a Christian home, Christian school. I went to a Baptist school when I was young until I was in 3rd grade. Then I went to a public school, which that was a huge change from all the uniforms and for that transition. I learned so much in that short year that I did in my entire life, and none of it was good. None of it. That was probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made, was listening to all my friends in 4th grade. My freshman year, after I came to Liberty, boys happened. And I had a friend, and he didn't treat me right. He treated me very poorly. And one day, it got so bad to where I finally had to push him out of my life completely. And then I stopped speaking to that person for a while, and then he came to school here a couple of weeks ago and asked for forgiveness for all that he's done to me and what torture he's put me through the past 3 years. And I didn't accept his apology. That was probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. Because God says to forgive, because He forgave us after everything that we have done. And just having Him watching us, that makes everyone suffer. If you see one of your friends smoking pot outside, are you going to let them pursue that? Or are you going to try to help them out and say, that's not right? Last month, I was facing a lot of trials. I got in a bad relationship, another one. I stopped listening to my parents. I stopped caring. At lunch at school, I would eat with my nanny in her classroom because I didn't think that I was worthy enough to be around my friend's presence. And one night, I got caught. I did something very bad. I went to a party that I knew I shouldn't have. I didn't drink, but I knew it was wrong. And I was caught. And I was so mad and frustrated, and everything was just piling up on each other. I didn't think that I had very loyal friends to me. I felt like they were just there for me because my mom was a coach and she's a teacher here, so let's get all buddy-buddy with the coach's daughter. Extra brownie points, right? But after that fight, I went home, and I was being lectured by my parents how I was wrong. I was very quiet. I agreed to everything. I knew I was wrong. And then I went in my bathroom, and I swallowed 10 propanolol. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's a blood pressure medication. Thanks. And that night, I attempted suicide. My dad took me to my best friend's house, Austin Theobald, and his parents were helping me. I realized I made the biggest mistake after I took those pills. I laid down on my bed. I looked at a picture of me and my little brother Joshua and how happy we looked. And I knew I couldn't leave him. And then I felt something nagging at my heart saying that something was missing. And that I just wanted to be happy. So the ambulance finally came, and my paramedic, he's your neighbor by the way, when I was wasn't laying down on the stretcher, he held my hand and he prayed for me. I mean, it's only by God's grace that he would put a Christian paramedic in the ambulance with me, right? I thought that was work by God. And that he was telling me about how God will save me, I'll be okay. And at that time, I felt my heart getting slower and slower and slower. And I just grew so tired. It kept trying to keep me awake. And when I got in the hospital, I was laying in my bed, and there was a screen above me, a TV show. And a speaker came on. I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about religion and evolution, and like what the difference is between Christianity and evolution. And I was like, first of all, I was like, wow, I was surprised to find that in a hospital. And then I was like, oh my gosh, God's doing another thing for me. It's helping me realize what I'm missing out on life. And I had my friends came in, Alyssa, Lindsay, and Ambria. And they sat on my bed, bawling their eyes out. And I shared with them what I'm sharing with you today. Last Sunday, a couple and their deaf daughter came to church, and we were having a Bible study with them that morning. And just out of nowhere, they asked me how I was saved. And I realized I thought I was saved years ago, but I wasn't. I was baptized years ago, but that didn't mean anything. Yeah, that was a public declaration of my love for God, but I didn't really love him. I loved the benefits more. I loved sin more. Sin made me feel alive and vibrant, and I loved it. But there's still inside of me, I felt guilt. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but that didn't stop me. I hung out with the wrong crowd. You know how people say, choose your friends wisely? Yeah, I didn't listen to that. I chose partiers, drinkers, everything that was leading me astray. And in Psalm 23, you know the... That's me.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness, for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies, and you have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and loving kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. That's my favorite line in that. Because God has a plan for everything, good and bad. I honestly feel like if I didn't take those pills, then I still wouldn't have known God. That night in the hospital, I prayed to God, and I believe that I am now truly saved. I just want to glorify God in everything I do. But one thing that's always going to happen is my past, because usually your past belittles you. It consumes you. You feel like you're going to fall back into that temptation. And I just might. But by God's grace, ago, and it was called Counted Faithful, and this line stood out to me. Your ability to serve God is not based on your past, but on your faithfulness today. So, no matter what happened in the past, we can use that. That's our strength. Don't look at it as a weakness. We can feed off of that, and always try to do better, and be a better person, and glorify God. I know I'm not the only one that's facing trials in this room. I know I'm not. I know some of you are facing plenty of temptations. And you can try to do what I did and just keep it all inside, a secret. Don't share it with anyone. But that alone will eat you alive. What happened to me my freshman year, I should have spoken to someone about. But I didn't, because I guess you could say I'm an independent person. And I didn't feel like dragging other people into my situations because I thought that was selfish of me. But sometimes you just feel selfish for asking for help. It's okay. You can ask me for help. You can ask Andrew Holly for help. In fact, I was with him for like an hour and a half the other day, just crying. Just because I was so lost, and he showed me so much scripture and how I was wrong. I was so very wrong in what I was doing. And I challenge you guys today that if you're facing trials, that you'll ask God for help. Or even you can ask people, your friends, but choose your friends wisely. Because if you choose a bad friend, I always chose bad friends because I felt like I could help them, but really they were dragging me down. When I attempted suicide, I thought that was it. I wanted it to be over. But now today, looking at each and every one of your guys' faces, I'm so glad I didn't, because I would miss you guys so much. And God works in mysterious ways. He can turn something bad into something amazing. He can turn something little into something huge. And I feel like he's turning my situation. And last night, I asked my mom, I told her I was going to speak in chapel today. And she said, "Really? So soon?" Well, you know what? We don't know when we're going to die. I was actually debating on speaking today. I was going to say, I probably should wait a while, since I'm new at this. But you don't know when you're going to die. And so I wanted to share with you what I know, and hopefully that can work a little bit in your heart, to know that God is always there for you. And He'll help you through anything. Brittany, can you pray for us?
Yes. Dear God, thank you for giving Lexi the strength to share those words with us. I pray that what she said will rest in all our hearts.